Good day to everyone joining us from across the world. I'm really excited for today's episode because I'm talking to an author who I have been following for a couple of years and I really admire her work. It's actually a fangirl moment for me that she has agreed to be a guest on this live, and I'm really excited to talk to her. Stay tuned with us as she joins us and we begin today's episode. Hello, Edie. Thank you for joining. We have today's guest. I'm just going to add her and we can begin today's. Stay tuned with us. It's going to be a really good episode. Hello, Alisha.
Hi Manali,
How
how
are
are
you?
you? I'm good. Thank you for having me on the live.
Yeah. Oh my God. When you said yes, it was like, wow, did she really say yes? For a few seconds, I was scrolling up and down and seeing, hi, hi, bola hai.
That's so sweet.
How are
Thank you.
you?
All good. How are you doing?
Good, good, good. Yeah. So it's a little depressing the weather, but yeah, otherwise good. Must be the same for you, right? Winter.
So we've got for the past month we were having very sunny weather. It hasn't rained. If it has, it's been like thoda bahut drizzle. But we've got lovely sunny weather. Temperatures between 10 and 12. So I'm like full leather jacket on and showing I'm not feeling very cold.
That's a good feeling to have because I hate putting on those 4 5 layers while going
Yeah,
out.
I know. That's a pain. And then those big gloves, the ski gloves. So when it was very
Yeah.
cold in December, so I was wearing 2 layers of gloves, okay? Silk gloves and leather gloves. फिर भी my fingers would hurt. So then I started wearing ski gloves. And they're so huge. You can't hold
Yeah.
anything. You can't do anything. I was like, कब बंद होगा ये?
The most irritating is when you're wearing the gloves and you receive a phone call and you have to like,
Oh
oh my
God.
God, struggle.
Yes. So I burnt my fingers literally like frostbite burn. During Christmas, we used to go to Christmas markets and it's so Instagrammable, right? So you want to take
Yeah.
photos for a gram and
Yeah.
after taking 3 photos, your hands are frozen and you're in pain, serious
Yeah.
pain.
Literally, yes. I
I'm like,
know.
how do people do this?
Yeah. Like respect for influencers has gone 10 levels up.
Seriously. Yeah, yeah, man.
Okay, so before we begin today's episode, the book in focus that we have is the first book in the Bad Girl series, which you have written. And before I barge you with questions, because I have so many questions, I wanted to read out a few passages from
Okay.
this book.
Okay, great. So I'll start reading a part where Kabir, that is the hero of the book, he is meeting with the board of directors of his hospital to discuss a fundraiser, possible fundraiser
Okay.
for the hospital. And so this is Kabir saying, Your Highness, we're trying to collect funds, and I'm not sure how blowing up a huge chunk of money on a grand party is going to help us do that. The other members of the board nodded in agreement. The very thought of wasting money on a fundraiser made them turn ashen. Dima shook her head in disappointment. Beta, sometimes you have to spend money to earn more. Well, we don't have much to begin with, and I don't think I can authorize such an expense when I could use the money to buy new ventilators, I said apologetically. I knew she meant well, but she needed a dose of reality. There was nothing glamorous about what we were trying to do here. What if the board doesn't have to spend a single penny? I will donate the money you need to organize the event, she replied craftily. With due respect, Your Highness, why would you do that? She banged on the floor with the end of her walking stick. Because it is time to try something new. The world is full of people who have more money than they can spend in a lifetime, and some of them are even willing to share that wealth. You just need to know how to approach them. As for the ones that don't want to part with their wealth, you need to know exactly how to lure and skin them, said Her Highness with relish. Were we still talking about raising money? I had a feeling there was a ruthless serial killer lurking under that silk clad grandmotherly exterior. I sighed as I resigned myself to an uncomfortable meeting with the event manager. But I would hear her out before I showed her the door. It was the least I could do. I looked at my watch pointedly and nodded. Fine, let's see what this wizard of yours has in mind. There was a sharp knock at the door, and it swung open. I hope I'm not too old for one of your lollipops, Dr. Uncle, called a voice that I hadn't heard for years. And yet it hit me with the same force as it had 7 years ago. Her Highness rose to welcome her, but I stayed frozen in my seat, unable to do anything but stare at that familiar face. Fuck, fuck, fuck. What the fuck was Aisha Rajput doing here? She walked into the room and greeted Her Highness with a warm hug. Now, where's my favorite man? She cooed, pulling away from the Rajmata of Banor. I clenched my jaw and stood up slowly to my full height as she turned towards me. When she spotted me, she swayed in place as if she had been dealt a body blow. I shot her a frosty smile that made her turn pale. Well, well, if it isn't the OG bad girl, I drawled. And now this is from Aisha's point of view. Aisha Rajput, that's the heroine of the story. My chest went tight and I forgot how to breathe. All I could think of was that I had to get out of here right now. When I walked into that door, the last person I was expecting to see was him, my dirty secret, my nemesis, my past, Kabir.
That's
Thank you.
like yeah. I especially love this part because the two characters when they're seeing each other after a long time, and the observations that they have, and then immediately after this paragraph, he goes and leans over near the window, and the way you have described that is wonderful. I can visualize how yummy that hero is.
Thank you. And uh, are we
Yeah.
going to hear something from you, from Mindful Musings?
Oh, yes, but later on. Now I have
Okay.
my question for you.
Okay. Okay.
Because I am a big fan of the genre itself and a fan of your writing also. Not
Okay.
just rom-com. The first book that I read of yours was a different genre, and
Yes.
there you write as your own original name.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you know how much I love that book.
Yeah.
So, related to the romance genre, one question that I have in mind, because I have written a rom-com novel, just one,
Okay.
and you have written so many, and I've noticed the growth from the first book to this one also.
Yes. Yes.
As per your understanding, what is that one? There are like a few things that a romance novel must have, and what are your tips for writers who are new to this genre?
See, okay, so this thing, what a romance novel should have, this is not something that can be explained properly. Okay, so there are many authors, like there is an author called Theodora Taylor, if I'm not wrong. She has written something called Seven Figure Author, where she talks about the fantasy, that you tap into the fantasy which everyone signs up for when they read a romance novel, and you give them those tropes and those fantasies and all of that. Which I read that book. She makes a lot of sense, but this is not something that can be taught to a person. Okay, there is a way to learn it by reading. The best way to learn how to write a romance is by reading thousands of romances, because that kind of gets in, that you intuitively pick up what reader expectations from a romance are. You need to have a heroine that the reader can root for. You need to have a hero that even if he's not perfect, you still ship them. You still feel this boy and this girl need to be together, so you need to want to root for their relationship. And if the reader, it's like, okay, have you seen How I Met Your Mother?
Yes.
So all the time I was rooting not for Ted and Robin, I was rooting for Robin and Barney. So that's
Yes.
a big fail. Like your readers need to root for your couple, and then at times, okay, like right now it's the time of dark romances, and the heroes do things that people don't like. I mean, that's not my favorite genre, but even in that, there will be something redeemable about him. The ones that work, the ones that are very popular, there will be something that makes the reader feel, okay, no, kuch bhi ho jaye, because the heroine is always asked, we are on the heroine side always, right? The readers always on the heroine side, no matter what. So it is for the hero to redeem himself. The hero has to be worthy of her. So that is what makes a novel successful.
That one point that you made, wow, I've never, looked at it as an observer, and now it's, provided me a good understanding that we are always rooting for the heroine.
Yes.
Uh, Hero तो ऐसा side में होता है.
हाँ.
The heroine is always like, we are always, irrespective of who is reading the book, we are always rooting for the heroine.
We see
Very,
ourselves in the heroine, na? A
yeah,
lot of readers, they are living out their fantasies when they are reading it. They
yes.
whether they actively do it or not, they become a part of the heroine. So they are living what she's living.
Uh,
So the hero is literally an object at times, that you objectify him, you lust after him, you give him galis, you whatever, whatever kind of person he is, depending on what kind of hero he is, whether he's a good hero, whether he's a dark hero, whatever. But you identify with what the heroine is going through, because you might have gone through it in your life, right? A lot of those situations, big and small. So
yeah. We have Devansh here who's saying, yes, absolutely agreed. Got to keep reading. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, and in fact, one of the things that you said about reading more. But what I want to add to that, as per my personal experience, because I am currently working on my second novel, and
Hmm.
I was reading yours and I'm reading other romance novels
Hmm.
while I'm writing it. So that's also very nice and helpful that actively you are reading one and actively you are writing one.
Yes, 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 because you analyze the beats of it. See, there are people who write by beat sheet. Okay, there are books. There's a book by Gwen Hayes. I think it's called Romancing the Beat, if I'm not wrong. And in that, she tells you beat sheets and whatever. But what I would suggest to any writer is forget genre, forget what is selling in the market, forget what you see is selling, what is popular. Think about your story. So, think about the story that you want to tell and be honest to it. And it helps if you're a new writer because, see, I started writing in 2016. I've always been writing like short stories, flash fiction, drama scripts and stuff. I've never written a novel. My first novel I wrote was in 2016. And writing a novel is a very different ball game, as you also have discovered, no doubt. So plot it out.
Hmm.
Plot out,
Got
outline
it.
your novel so that you don't get distracted, you don't get lost. And in the middle
Hmm.
of the book is where you tend to get lost and you're like, chalo, give it up. This is not worth writing because I don't know how to take it. And this happens with me a lot. I have like 15 books unwritten, like half part written. So yeah, so and I only have like five books out, five romances out. So there are like so many other that I've not been able to finish. So you
Hmm.
in the middle is where you need to really plot and really outline where you're going to take the story, so that you know, okay, this chapter you're not wasting time. This chapter में ये हो रहा है, next chapter में वो होगा. So you have one event per chapter, and that helps you take the story forward in a way that the story is tight. There are no
Okay.
useless fillers in the story.
Hmm. That's very important because having those fillers certainly tends the readers to DNF the book. Like
Yeah,
मजा नहीं आ रहा है.
yeah, yes, yeah.
We have Devanshu saying that Barney and Robin really, yeah, but
Absolutely.
I also ship them. I
Yeah.
totally ship them.
Yeah. Yeah. They were
I
made
was
for each
never
other.
a fan of Ted and Robin.
Yeah. And honestly, at risk of being lynched in public, can I just say I was never a fan of Ross and Rachel. I've always been a Rachel and Joey fan. Like
Oh.
really, I mean, Joey was a perfect guy for her. Ross didn't love her half as much as Joey did.
Okay, we have a different opinion from the popular opinion here.
Yes. Ross was toxic. He's not hero material.
Ross was definitely whiny. I agree. He was complaining all the time, and sometimes I felt like
Smack
giving
him.
him a whack on his back, and he was like, "क्या है?"
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to smack him in other places, but yeah, you said on the back, okay.
Chaotic anarchy, Alisha.
Yes,
Yes, definitely.
anarchy, chaos, chaos for the win.
Yeah, which brings me to my second question. We all know how much reviews matter for the book to reach newer audiences and for it to be able to sell well. So, and पिछले 4-5 साल में हम सब ने देखा है there are so many reviewers out there who will try to entice you with fake reviews and bulk reviews. How do we ensure that we are getting genuine reviews and not falling for such traps?
See, first of all, we need to understand that if a reader is going through the reviews of the book and picking a book based on those reviews, the reader is not dumb, right?
Hmm.
Like the reader, see, there are some types of readers who don't look at reviews. They just look at the
Hmm.
blurb, they like it, they go. And there are some types of readers who will analyze the reviews because they are looking for certain things, certain triggers. अगर
Hmm.
reviews में आता है कि okay, the language is not very free flowing, there are issues with the grammar, with the editing,
Hmm.
or there are bigger issues with the plot of the book. There are triggers and certain things that have not been dealt with well. Those things all come out in reviews. So those kind of reviews will definitely make a difference. But if
Hmm.
you have like 50 reviews with just two lines grammatically incorrect, most of the fake reviewers that come, they're like grammatically incorrect. It tells the person who's looking at that book, a potential reader, that this is a fake review, this is a paid review. So they're not
Hmm.
going to value that anyway. So what
Hmm.
value is that kind of a review going to add? Instead,
Correct.
go to a reviewer who's actually interested in reading the genre. And see, there are sometimes when you have people who read the book and say, I DNF because this is not my favorite genre. So,
Hmm.
matlab, it doesn't make sense, right? You can make out from a review whether the reviewer has read the book, whether they understand that genre. Those kind of reviews add value. So,
Hmm.
I think for the KDP, what I've seen, the only thing that seems to work is working with the algorithm. So if you release consistently and regularly, say every 12 weeks, 2 months to 3 months, you release one book, there is a better chance of your books getting seen and getting read than anything else.
Hmm, that's a very good tip. And I need to imbibe it myself because I have been, kind of not very regular. I have been
Yeah.
only doing 1 or 2 books every year. And इस साल तो goal है कि at least 3 books I should be able to do.
Yeah, yeah. Because even for me, I did Maharaja in March 21, and then I think April 22, I brought the second book out. So there was more than a year in between. And then, but then after April, I brought out another book in October, and then in December. So I saw a difference in the read. But there is, I don't know, I don't think Bookstagram helps so much in sales these days because it's more of, fellow authors and people who like
Hmm.
making quotes of books and graphics of books.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of them are my actual reader because I have like very few followers on, if you see my follower list on Instagram, I have like 400 followers on Instagram. But I have many more readers, right? So those readers are the ones you have to
Hmm.
figure out how to reach.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And this thing I have also observed that, having a huge following is not going to convert into sales
Yeah,
ever.
yeah,
It's not a
yeah,
surety of reading a larger audience in any manner.
yeah, yeah.
So yes, being probably consistent in publishing on KDP, that would help a wider audience.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
No, Bookstagram is more like an art exhibition than a sales festival.
Very true. Very true. This is very true.
And Devansh has also said that he's more of a 9-9 squad person.
Okay.
Oh well, we digress.
Yeah.
Let's focus on books. We'll open a whole different discussion here.
Yeah.
Okay. One more thing that I wanted to understand is do reviews really help? I mean, as you mentioned, that there are different kinds of readers. Somebody who's not going to read the review at all, and somebody who's going to read the review for the trigger points, like इसमें ये है, then I will pick it up.
Yeah.
So, do reviews really matter?
So it depends. Like I said, it depends on the review. If it's a very well thought out review, a bad review will make a difference. A well thought out bad review, giving reasons. See, these days most people get bombed 1 star, 2 star, review bombed. So a rating bomb. You just book निकलता है 2 hours में you get a 2 star reading, 2 star rating, and you think that they probably not even had the time to read the book, but they've given a 2 star rating for
Hmm.
whatever reason. So those I don't
Right.
think matter because if there's no review with the rating, readers don't care. But a bad review that is a well thought out, well written review with actual critique, that probably, matters. And good reviews, yeah. See, the trouble with good reviews is a lot of times people think it's your friends and family who are doing, unless there are like so many
Hmm.
good reviews. Like if there's
Hmm.
like if you have 5,000 reviews and out of those 3,000 are great reviews, then people might believe it. If you have like
Uh,
100 reviews and out of that 60 are good reviews, ठीक है. But the lower the number of reviews, reader perception also has changed. So
yeah.
we know about
What
fake
is
reviews
the
and all.
average rating that matters? I guess.
Yes,
Yeah.
the rating matters for Amazon's algorithm. I don't think otherwise it matters so much.
Yeah. The interesting observation that I have also made is that, especially with my book, I have noticed that there's a huge gap between the Amazon and Goodreads review rating.
Yes.
Amazon Goodreads पे ज़्यादा है, Amazon पे
हाँ,
कम है.
because Amazon does not, Amazon deletes reviews if they feel they're paid. So that is
Ah,
another danger with, if you pay for 50 reviews, 100 reviews, there is no guarantee that, say, even 1 month later, those reviews will be on your page.
hmm.
You lose out reviews. So Amazon's algorithms, they catch the reviews at times, they take them out, and again after some time you might find the same review for if they feel it's not a paid review because they check to see if the reviewer has a personal relationship with the writer and all of that. All those
Okay.
things are
Okay. Yeah, that was a very in-depth discussion about reviews. I'm glad I got to learn so much from you. Now I leave the floor open to you. You have also read my latest book, and I
yes.
would like to know your thoughts and if you have any questions.
I love the way you've dealt with so many sensitive issues, and you've dealt with them. There was a lot of compassion in the way you wrote those poems about all
Thank
those
you.
issues, and you threw light on them in a very refreshing way. So why don't you read us something from that?
Yeah, sure. Is there any? Any poem that you are able to recall and would like for me to read.
No, whatever your favorite is. I want to know which one is your favorite. I like the way you use the letters of the alphabet, huh? A, B, C, D, 1,
That
2,
is
and
all
3.
thanks to block chatter.
Yeah, that A to Z. That is very
Oh,
nice.
um, I'm going to go with Never Gone. I don't think I have read that one before in any of my episodes. So,
Sure.
Never Gone. This one is titled Never Gone and it focuses on the emotion of doubt. It goes in thoughts, in movements, in the form of doubts about self, in the form of suspicion on others and about others, through words, spoken and mostly unspoken, through actions, sometimes done, generally undone, almost always there, making all and sundry unsure, uncertain, only sometimes absent, when not, assured confidence and a positive outcome. People call it anxiety, some nervousness. I call it necessary evil that's never gone.
Very nice. I even like the one with the self-image thing that, the person comes out, looks in the mirror and finds themselves looking really nice. And then at every step, there's someone who chips away at that self-image. I really like
Yeah,
that. Can you read that as well for me if you can?
yeah, sure, sure. I think that one is called Mirror on Mirror Mirror. Wala.
Yeah, mirror, mirror.
So this one is titled Mirror Mirror on the Wall and it focuses on the emotion of confidence. It goes, I looked at the mirror, assuring myself, you look great, and stepped out of my room, brimming with self confidence. My mother said, that color doesn't go well with your skin tone, but I like it and I think I look great. I stepped out of my house, happy with my choice, albeit with a little dent in my confidence. The neighbor said, that outfit is a little tight, isn't it? You should wear loose fitting clothes for your body type. I know what suits my body type and this outfit fits well. I made my way to work, the dent in my confidence a little bigger. A colleague said, doesn't wearing a sleeveless blouse to work make you feel self conscious about your flabby arms? It is what it is. The confidence was now nowhere in sight, as self doubt slowly replaced self assurance. I asked the mirror, do I really look great? The reflection stared back, confused and sorrowful. As I took in my size, shape, and color, I asked again, does this define me? The reflection smiled and said, yes, it does. And yes, you look great with it all. Just like that, the self assurance dominated the self doubt again.
This is very nice, and this is very true. Like, this is something that we all go through, right?
Yeah. Like when you're looking in the mirror, you tell yourself, wow, this is a great outfit. Especially if it's a new outfit, you're like, wow,
Yes.
अच्छी choice की मैंने. I look amazing.
Yeah. The minute you step
And
away from the
then
mirror,
people
it
start
starts
with their opinions.
spin marrowing. Yeah, yeah. So, what inspired you to
Devanshi.
write Manali? Oh, Deb is here.
Ah,
Hi, Deb. Deb Datta.
yes, thank you. And Devanshi saying, I remember this one. Thank you. I am so happy to hear that you remember one of my poems. Thank you. Yes, you were asking.
So, what inspires you to write?
So now, my biggest motivation is life itself because we are experiencing it something new every moment. I feel so that itself is the biggest inspiration. And other
Hmm.
than that, I am an avid reader. I read so much that I get inspired by the books that I read, and I wonder if I can incorporate this in my writing in any way.
Hmm.
So these are the two main inspirations. But सबसे बड़ा motivation ये है मुझे पता है कि this is the only thing I'm good at, which is also going to get me money.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Very true. But it's good to
तो
have that kind of clarity, no?
क्या
Like
कुछ
people
और
go,
मैं करूंगी तो लोग पैसे नहीं देंगे मुझे.
so yeah, people go half their lives not knowing what they're good at. I feel very happy when I see younger people knowing what they're good at and knowing how to turn that into a career and uh,
Yeah,
uh,
I've been fortunate in that manner that, within a few years of my professional journey, I was able to figure out my calling. So
yeah.
that way, yeah.
And you've written like fiction before, you've written novels before. So how different is writing poetry to writing a novel?
So I think the biggest difference is that when you're writing a novel, you have a defined, so not necessarily defined, but it somehow limits your the creative freedom that you have. You have to keep your writing within the frame of the character and the story that you are putting in. With poetry, you can take much more creative liberty in the
Okay.
manner of the form, or or whatever new experimentation you want to do.
Hmm.
And it can be free verse, it can be abstract. There are so many things you can do with poetry. With novel writing you become limited in that manner.
Okay.
And there was one thing that that has stopped me, and I hesitate in writing a novel more than while I'm writing poetry, is that you have to keep coming back to it longer than when you are writing a poem or any poetry collection. Also, it might take you 2 to 3 years to write a collection of poem, but what happens in a novel is it might take you 2 3 years to write the same novel.
Yeah. Yeah.
पोएट्री में एक के बाद दूसरे पे आप तुरंत जा सकते हो.
You can go.
Whereas
Yes.
in a novel, you have to keep coming back to the same characters. You have to keep coming back to the same story. So that's one thing that's another thing that differentiates poetry and novel writing for me.
Okay. And which do you find easier? Because for me, I cannot even think of writing poetry. I find it so difficult because the idea that in such a short, the space of words given to you is much shorter than like a full-length novel, right? Novel may have like time to let go and write leisurely. In writing poetry, it is like you have to deliver the same punch but within like 1 page or 2 pages, and that is, or preferably 1 page. And that punch is like it's so difficult to bring it out. So how do you do it? It's what do you
I
prefer,
think
find easier?
Devansh is here who's agreeing with your point. That's poetry for me, kind of limiting. Could be that I haven't studied it as extensively
Yeah,
as I
yeah.
have done story writing. So for
Yeah,
me, the
yeah.
opposite is true, because I have written poetry for the longest time since I started writing.
Okay,
I have
okay,
done poetry
okay.
for the longest time. And story writing is
Hmm.
something new for me, which I have only done since 2017, I think. So उसमें 5 ही साल हुए हैं, and I have over two decades of experience in poetry writing. So it
Yeah.
again, the differentiating factor could be the amount of time you have invested in writing that particular genre.
Yes, yes. That's true.
So this brings me to the favorite part of the episode, which is the rapid fire round. And
Okay.
what we'll do is we'll ask each other one question, turn by turn. Okay.
Okay, sure.
My first question to you is, uh, since you have two names as an author,
Hmm.
I am very curious
Yeah.
to understand which one do you prefer? Apeksha Rao or Alisha K? What is your preference?
Apeksha Rao. Apeksha Rao, for sure. Because that's me, right? Apeksha Rao is me. Alisha K is a pen name that I took. But Apeksha Rao is who I am. So,
Yeah, right. That's the real you.
yeah.
Okay, your turn.
So, what about you? Verse or prose? But I think you've already answered that. But still, quick me. Verse or prose?
As a writer verse, as a
Hmm.
reader prose.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
My next question to you is, I find it very fascinating that the three of you, Shilpa and Lalib,
Yeah.
have managed to write so many books together. So, tell us about that experience, and what can we expect from the three of you together next?
So we still haven't decided too much about there are so many ideas. We get a lot of ideas. We're like, oh, we can do this, we can do that. So now we're still trying to figure out what we can do next. So for this year, we plan to do like one collab a year. So this year's collab is done
Okay.
because
Okay.
my book was Bad Girl Gone Good. Then Andali released Bad Girl Gone Rogue, and now Shilpa is about to release Bad Girl Gone Wicked. So if you guys haven't read those two, please, if you haven't read
Yeah, I
Andali's
think
book, and please
Shilpa
do read.
shared an update today only that it's the
Yes.
pre-order is live now, 28th February,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. 28th Feb.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So for us,
Everyone
uh,
start pre-ordering, and
yes, please do. It's both wonderful books.
it's the perfect for this season of love. So go ahead and check it out.
Yes. Yes.
The previous two, and start ordering Shilpa's one, also the third one in the
Yes.
series.
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
So for
your
us, it
turn.
is like because we are such good friends, we find it very easy to collaborate. I mean, it's our minds
So
work
I
in sync, so
always
it's not.
wondered that how this is possible, because with creative people it's very difficult to get your alignments right, wavelengths
Yeah.
right. Everyone has to agree on a particular thing, that the मेरी story इतनी रहेगी, how it will merge, there's also another question, no?
Yeah, yeah. So the thing is, there's a lot of hard work involved. We go nuts trying to create like a document, and that's Andali's department. She will create that Google Doc with, and she'll keep reminding us, update your doc. Even if your character likes a particular brand of cake or ice cream or whatever, just put it in everything, because you never know when you're going to pick it up, when you need some reference to whatever. Like at one point, they wanted to know, like I'd given a name to Shilpa's character's vice captain in my book, because I had introduced that character in my book, and they were like, "What is the name? What is the name?" I need to mention her, and we found it in the doc, and you're like, this is
Yeah.
her name. I think because of the time difference, I was asleep, and Andy and Shilpa were trying to figure that out.
That's
They like,
another impediment, the
ha,
time difference.
yeah, but we make it work because the three of us have the same vision for romance, like what we like to read and what we like to write. So that kind of helps.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah. And all the best. And as a reader, I can tell you, I'm always looking forward to your collaborations.
Thank you. Hopefully, it gets bigger and better every year. Like we
It
started a
will be, I'm
collaboration for a
sure.
novella, it's like three novellas in one, and then we moved to like full novels. So let's see what we do
Yeah.
next time. Okay, so I know that you're an editor as well, right? So between writing and editing, what do you prefer?
Writing is much easier because as an editor, you also have to keep in mind what the person who has written it has kept in mind, what their thought process was when they
Yeah.
were writing this particular character or chapter or incident. So that becomes really difficult. And again, you have to coordinate with them a lot.
Yes.
That's why
Yes.
I was wondering how you three manage to collaborate so much because a lot of coordination is required.
Yes.
And with the time difference and all of that, it becomes really difficult because you are not getting the answer at
That
that
time.
moment when you're
Yes.
working on it.
Yeah, yeah. But how does it like like I'm sure writers are very possessive about their work, and like if you try to change even a comma, they'll come down on you and say nahi nahi ye nahi chalega. So how do you deal with that as an editor?
So, fortunately for me, I'm also very picky about the projects that I pick up for editing,
Okay.
and I look at that person's thought process, and before
Hmm.
taking on the project, I make it clear that I will have a certain liberty in changing
Yes.
or in doing certain things. So, will you be okay with that?
True.
And
True.
then I also share my work with them. Like this is the kind of writing that I have done, so you can trust me with what I am bringing in. So that
Yeah.
becomes
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah. That's true.
Okay, my next question to you, because we are both experts living out of India,
Yeah. Yeah.
the best and the worst thing about being away from India and living in
Okay.
another country.
Okay. So the best thing is the education system. Like my kids are, I'm seeing the difference in the kind of way they're being taught, and I love that. Like I have 6-year-old twins, and they're already learning figures of speech that we learned in eighth standard. I
Oh
mean,
my God.
my children one of the exercises in school was to write an acrostic poem, which I had to Google what an acrostic poem was. So, and they did it. They told me, no, 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 this is how you do it. And so nicely they were taught to do it. And they're taught to read and review books right now. So they're taught to analyze
Wow.
stories and then write a review about it. And, very in depth. Uh, so the comprehension skills and all are developed so nicely because of that. I wish we had more of that in India as well, and not just in IB schools, expensive schools, but affordable schools. If they could, include that in their way of teaching, would be really nice.
Yeah.
What I don't like is that all my people are away from me, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
I'm here without my whole family, extended family is back in India, so I miss that. What
Yeah.
about
That I can relate to. Yeah.
yeah?
And also, but no, you are in London, so you don't have that much of an issue. I'm living in a smaller city in the Netherlands, so food also becomes an issue for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're vegetarian?
Yeah.
God help you, man. How do you eat in Netherlands? Because it's like,
खुद ही बनाना पड़ता है so whatever I feel like whatever craving I have for I have to
yeah,
prepare myself only.
yeah, yeah, that's true. But what do you prefer, India or Netherlands?
So as a reader and writer I definitely prefer Netherlands because it provides so much more peace of
Yes,
mind.
yes.
That so the environment is perfect for working as a writer,
Mm.
but otherwise I think I prefer India because there's so much smooth flowness. You have a help for everything. You can
Yes,
turn to anyone when you need
yes,
something.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, because here there have been times when I've been sleepless at night wondering, suppose me or my husband, one of us needs to go to the hospital, then what do we do with the children? Raat ko suppose somebody has a medical emergency, has to go to the hospital. Does the other person go with the ambulance or stay at home with the children? So, that level of anxiety. Suppose worst comes to worst, kuch hua, to how do you do? But yeah, over time you make friends. Like now I have friends here and I know that I can call them and say, we need help or whatever. But it
Yeah,
takes
I
time.
can relate to that. We moved here in the midst of the COVID 2020, and
Wow.
yeah, and it was not a good time. And we were new. We didn't know many people. So
Yeah.
I also have constantly had that anxiety कि हम लोगों में से किसी को हो गया, and if I have to call someone to pick us up or take us to the hospital, what will we
Yeah.
do?
Yeah. Yeah. True, true. And Dutch is a difficult language to learn. It's not easy to
Yeah,
speak Dutch, right? So, but I'm sure now you've had to learn.
yeah, थोड़ा बहुत तो सीख ही लिया है.
Yeah.
हाय हेलो तो हो ही जाता है.
Yeah.
काम चलाओ.
Guten Tag. How does it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only Dutch I know is from Betty Neal's books. Do you know Betty Neal? Oh God, I used to love her books, man. I used to love her Dutch heroes. Only thing sometimes I used to want to smack them because they felt that the heroine was so useless and they had to like take care of her. And I would be like, hello, she can take care of you, boss. Like give her that much
Yeah.
credit.
Okay, your next question.
No, it's yours. I asked India or
It's mine.
Netherlands.
Okay, so one thing that you would advise to somebody who's, trying to take a plunge like you did, they are trying to change their career and make writing into a full-time career.
Okay, so here's something I've been seeing. Okay, so what happens is when you are in one particular career for a long time, you reach a particular place in it, right? 10 years, 15 years down the line. So,
Hmm.
but when you start writing, please forget that where you are in your career and realize that you are starting writing as a rank beginner
Right.
because you have people who have worked in corporates and stuff that's the crowd that's coming into writing these days. Okay, they want to become published authors. They might be like at a very good post in their corporate career, but then when you're dealing with publishers and editors and or even for the reader, so these are the people who get very upset when the writing is criticized because they think they are
Hmm.
good at so many things. They will be good at writing as well. But your expertise in your career does not translate into your writing unless you're writing non-fiction that is related to your career. If you're writing
Hmm.
fiction, please understand that you're a rank beginner and put in the hard work that you put in for your career. Put in the same hard work now. You have to. There's
Hmm.
no choice. So you have to start from the bottom and you have to work your way up.
Yeah, that's so good, so well said. Because I have seen a lot of senior people who are, in their 50s and 60s and they are writing their first book. And I feel really bad telling them that, it's not as good as it can be.
Yes.
It becomes, yeah.
Yes.
So agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay, your turn.
So what are you working on next?
I think I already said I'm working on my second novel,
Nice.
and fingers crossed, if everything goes as per plan, it should be out by mid-March.
Very good. All the best. So that's
Thank
a
you.
rom-com as well. Is that a
Yes.
rom-com? Nice,
Yes,
nice.
yes. So that's
And
why your books and Shilpa's books have been like a God blessing for me because I read rom-coms a lot, but it makes a difference when you are reading an author who comes from the same kind of
yes,
background as you.
background. Yes, yes. In fact, that this is something that Indian writers have not had much of, right? Like when you're
Hmm.
writing something, writing commercial fiction, whether you're writing thrillers, whether you're writing, say, rom-coms or romances, the pool of writers whom you can study is much smaller than
Yeah,
as compared to the writers from the West. Like you have like thousands of romance writers from the West to read, but none of that applies to your the place that you're writing about. So I wish
yeah.
we had, but now it's growing thanks to KDP. There are so many writers now. You can read all their books and apply something from everything. Um, I think it's your question.
Devansh has something to add on your suggestion. That he's saying that there's also the echo chamber problem that not many seem to realize until they start working with the actual professionals. Yes.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, he's pointed out a good thing. And that's why what Apeksha said that, read in the genre that you are writing or read other people who understand what they are doing. That's why it becomes so important.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think
Okay.
your
Yeah,
your
yeah.
your question. Your turn.
My last question to you is a typical day when you're not, writing or reading, maybe.
Okay, you will not believe this. So I am a fan. I'm a huge fan of bad horror. Bad horror shows. Matlab, I will not go and watch The Shining. I will watch Ahat. I will watch Fear Files. I will watch Anjan Special Crimes Unit, which was very well done. Okay, the other two are But this was really well done. But the more awful it is, the more entertaining it is. And I love watching all of this. And I'll be working in the kitchen, I'll be doing all my chores, watching that. And sometimes my 6-year-old kids are very naughty. They come and tap me from behind, and I'll be like, "Hey!" Like real life jump scare. So my family is taken to doing that to me. And the other day, I scared myself. Shit, okay. I was working in the kitchen and I just looked to my left, and my kitchen has like the back door, right? In the door, I saw my reflection and I scared myself. I'm like, who the hell is that? And I will still not stop doing it. That is what I will watch 24 by 7. And if I don't get a good horror story out of this, a good horror novel out of this, I will consider my life wasted.
Devansh's reaction is making me laugh more.
Yeah, because
Yeah, I am going to call this cheap thrills. That's the only phrase that comes
yeah,
to mind. Cheap thrills.
yeah. But there's something very refreshing about it. Like when I'm really exhausted, I binge watch Ahat. I will binge watch no what? Koi Aane Ko Hai. I will binge watch those things, and it's like 6 episodes, 7 episodes in a day, and my brain is
Oh
like,
my
I
god.
feel so refreshed after that. There's something wrong with me. Yeah, either.
Oh, what is wrong with you? No, but
Yeah.
I understand. I watch movies which are, bad rom-coms. Like Prem Magan and all of them.
Wow.
So I can totally relate. You
Yeah.
should watch them.
Oh
It will
yeah,
make
yeah,
you see, understand good cinema, good
yeah.
writing
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. What's your writing routine like, Manali? That's my last question to you.
Yeah. So writing routine. Let me just talk about the recent one. I am participating in a month-long challenge on Blockchatter, which is write a page a day, and that's been
Wow.
really motivating. It's like my accountability partner as of now
Huh.
in this
Huh.
one. So what I do is I have divided my day into pre-lunch and post-lunch.
Post
Pre-lunch,
lunch.
I am writing down as many pages or as many words as I can.
Hmm.
Not necessarily good, of course,
Hmm.
but I am writing. At least
That's good.
that's what matters to me currently. If लिख तो रही हूँ मैं, at least some
Yeah,
progress is
absolutely.
happening.
Yeah, yeah.
And post lunch, I have dedicated to my editing work and my
Okay.
blog writing. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Very nice. That's a very
Uh,
productive day.
yeah. Devansh is saying I do occasionally watch straight to streaming horror stuff from Hollywood. Notes लेने
Hollywood
हैं, yeah.
horror is not scary, man. See, what Hollywood horror? You need a chudel or a saya, मौत
Yeah,
का
that
साया to scare the
that
pants off
Hollywood
you.
doesn't have ना यार. Like मुझे वो white साड़ी में चाहिए जिसके ऐसे नाखून
हाँ,
बड़े
हाँ.
हैं.
Exactly. It's like I used to when I was in Bangalore, I used to be scared to go out of my room at night. Okay, middle of the night. And I'm like midnight hunger pangs times a million. So if I have to go and get my midnight chocolate, it used to be like trial by fire for me. Go walking and don't look here and there in the dark because Bangalore was very dark. Bombay is not so dark. There are so many street lights. You never get pura
Yeah.
andhera in Bombay.
Yeah.
Bangalore was a revelation for me, and we were on the 12th floor. And I'm like, oh God, oh God, oh God. And I read a friend of mine had written a collection of horror stories, and one of the stories was really scary. It was about this woman, a ghost, who's stuck on the balcony of a flat. So she
Oh
scares
my
the people
God.
living in the flat. And I'm like, there was a lot of wind, and the curtains would always be moving. So I would be like walking like this. Okay. Uh, In UK, I'm not scared. I can go around in the dark anytime because I'm like, English booth are not this scary at all. They have nothing on Desi booth.
I like this line. I'm going to use this. English books are not scary.
I mean, you always think that they'll break out with the British accent, which is not scary, to be honest.
समझ
Like,
में ही नहीं आएगा क्या डरा रहे
yeah,
हैं.
exactly.
Nice one. But this getting up at night thing, it's a big problem for me also. I can't go out in the dark. So most of the time, what I do is I hold my pee in. जब तक
Yeah.
सवेरा नहीं होगा, मैं नहीं जाऊंगी.
So in our
I
house,
can't go in the dark.
we have the habit of turning off the Wi-Fi at night. Like we don't leave it on all night, unnecessary radiation or whatever. So there have been times when I've not allowed my husband to sleep because फिर जाके रात को Wi-Fi off करना होता है. So I'm like, till I sleep, you will not sleep. You stay awake. You play
Yeah.
on Duolingo all night if you have to. If I'm doing something that needs the internet, or we leave the internet on all night. I will not go out in the dark just to turn off the internet. पागल है? बालकनी से जाके जाना पड़ता है.
And till today, I'm in my 30s now, but still, I'm not able to sleep alone without the light on.
Really?
अगर मैं घर
Wow,
पे
you're one step
अकेली
worse than me.
So, when I was away from home and studying, I always had roommates. It is only after the pandemic that, this thing came out where I had to sleep
Oh
alone.
my God, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, light हमेशा on रहेगी
Oh God.
when I'm alone. Yeah. And yeah, this what you said about telling the husband, I'm also like, till I have done my pee in the night, you are
Yes.
not sleeping. वरना फिर
Yeah.
रात को मैं कैसे करूँ?
Yeah.
I can understand. Devansh is really enjoying our
Exactly.
conversation. Even we are, I'm like, acha, chalo, I'm not the only weird one. This was such a fun conversation. Thank you finally for agreeing to do this,
It was
Alisha. And
great
I
fun.
hope we can do it again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Manali. It was a wonderful
Yeah.
conversation.
I look forward to your next book and all the best for all the upcoming
Thank
projects.
you. Thank
And
you, and wish you the same.
once again, thank you to you, not only for being my guest today, but also for, being so helpful in my journey as a novel writer.
Anytime, anytime. Thank you.
Okay. Have a great
Bye.
weekend ahead. Bye.
Thank
Bye,
you too.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining.
Bye.